Welcome back to the OPL. We're 1-1 again between Legacy and Avant. I don't know why I said again, because this is the first time it's happened. Yep. Spawn, Egypt. How you doing,
dude?
It
is the first time. Actually, the last time was a 2-0.
Yeah, I know. Bummer.
Oh, bummer,
all right.
man.
I stuffed it up. What do you want me to say? Like, all right, let's cut the tape, take it back to the graphic.
Rewind.
And go. Yeah, we're back on the OPL, and it's a 1-1 for the first time between Avant and Legacy.
Who are you? You're Jake Spawn Tupper, and I'm Bryce Paul. Yeah, we're back at it again. Hell yeah.
Yeah, we certainly are. So what did you make of that game?
Pretty interesting. I think the early games are kind of tracking like how Legacy want them to go for the most part. I think Only did do a lot of work early game so far. He evades onto Sybil, but then he kind of clawed his way back.
Yep.
And then like this kind of this stagnation towards 20 minutes. And I feel like Legacy, they did have the advantage that game. And I've said it multiple times, it was the Baron. That was the big thing that Legacy really need to clean up, because honestly, the way that was tracking should have been another similar performance to Game 2 with a shakier start. Yep. Sorry, to Game 1, but it just didn't end up like that.
And how do you get better at Baron? Like,
you do Baron.
But like the thing is, and like I'm sure people at home are saying, like, you know, in League of Legends, you scrim like what, 6 times a day most of the time? Mm-hmm. In like, say half of those games you lose, so you're not going to get access to Baron.
Yep.
So what, you get 3 to 5 times a day that you get to practice Baron setups? That's so hard to do. Like is it about watching VODs, or is it like, how else do you do it?
Well, I feel like it's kind of 2 parts, right? In terms of, it's a bigger discussion of how teams practice and scrim, because League of Legends, when you're just playing against another team, you can't just set up like, hey, we're just going to do Baron, you know what I mean? Like, you can't go to the net and you can't just do Baron.
Yeah.
Like you can in traditional swap, but also in terms of the way, like, I think about, like, Legacy's Baron there, and I think it wasn't, like, they just mis-executed their plan. It was, like, their plan was bad, or they weren't on the same page. They had multiple plans.
Yep.
So I feel like some of it is watching, and a lot of it is theory, and in coming up, like, watching what other teams do domestically and internationally. Like, you can take things from, like, I think Direwolves are a very good Baron team.
Yep.
I think they have what I like to call the Direwolves Baron, where they just TP to it and do it from full HP 5v5
They're a
on the map.
Baron.
Yeah,
they're
they
like,
are.
you have to outsmite Shern if you want the Baron buff, because we're not stopping damage. They don't even slow damage to set up burst. I like what you're saying there. I always tell Order, the guys that I spend a lot of time with, obviously, just sit down and watch it together. Sit down, like, if you're AD carry and support and you both have LCK open, like, stuff that, Chromecast it to a TV. Just sit there and watch it together and discuss, like, hey, when he stepped forward like this, do you see how they have to respect it? I like when you do that. Or, hey, see how he, like, face checked that brush and instantly died? That's bad for me because you're off the map for 30 seconds. And, you know, junglers...
I don't like when my teammates die.
Yeah,
what a revelation.
Junglers and top laners, or junglers and mid lane, like, I think that just watching the game together actually gives you a lot of insight. So I wonder if they do that. They sit down, they watch their Baron setup, and they're like, review. What the heck are we doing here?
But, like, kind of more specific, right? And I feel like that's something. But we have gone significantly far into the draft already. The bans are out. Kalista first pick once again.
Yeah, interesting. So it's going to be Caitlyn, Tristan, and Braum taken away. And it's going to be Azir as well as the Camille and Gangplank. So still leaving that Gnar up and available. Kalista picked up. So response is going to be 2 big, beefy frontliners. Get the go buttons in there, boys. Ornn and Alistar picked up, and a Gnar Ryze combo.
Yeah, 100%. They've yet to pick their jungle as well, so... I mean, they already have the front line. This could be another Nidalee game, but you expect him not to blind pick that one. Sejuani still available. Jarvan has been banned both games so far. Still available for Only on the side of AD.
So the complete deprioritization of Zoe.
Yep.
After, like, not much damage taken off the paddle star Only. Interesting. I mean, certainly putting high priority on it.
Yeah, in this game so far, right? Like, AV have already shown Game 2 that they weren't willing to first pick it. And at this stage, they've shown that they just aren't willing to pick it full stop. They don't want to play Zoe. Frey just doesn't want to play it. So Legacy, they're like, look, we can play Zoe, we might want to play it, but they'd rather take Frey off a comfort pick, so they do match with that Ryze takeaway. So, I mean, like, not complete deprioritization. It's still something that they're willing to play, but I feel like they just value the takeaway of Ryze more.
All right, cool. So not a play our best champion, play their best champion to a good level strat coming out. It's going to be Ezreal picked up for Avant as their last round pick, and it's going to be Taric. Plus a J4 ban coming out so far.
Yeah, I do need to mention Kalista with the alley picker. Jake, not a big alley player for the most part. You think about him more on the disengaged champions, but after a performance we just saw on Braum, was kind of the only engaged in the 4-man unit of AV, and did that very well. So Kalista into alley, I've mentioned already in the cast, Game 1 I think it was, where Kalista very stop-start. So getting the engage off, getting the combo off on alley is very easy early into the game when that stop-start kind of style is incredibly slow.
Yeah, for sure. It's going to be Tahm Kench and Nidalee So you would expect a prioritization on Sejuani, at least coming out from Legacy.
Yep.
See whether they pick mid lane here with the information they have available Avant to try and unlock a jungle counter pick for only, or do they just take a priority jungle?
Yeah, I mean, there are a lot of junglers still left. Many have hit the bench, but you have Sejuani, you have the Zac. Also, something like the Kha'Zix is still available. They do pick up that Orianna once again. Frey looked all right, did not have too much priority in the lane against Claire. And, I mean, especially once he picks up a few kills, it's very difficult for Frey to actually do anything in the matchup. So, picks it up this game, not blind this time.
But even in the early game, still couldn't follow into Fog of War before any kills were really picked up and was losing out on the shove due to that minion dematerializer. Had a good shockwave top lane, however.
Yep.
Caught all
inhib.
3 members, got him an inhib.
Sejuani will be the pickup of choice for Sybil. We've seen him play a lot of Sejuani this season. We are in the halfway point in the split. I think he's had mixed success so far. So.
Is he a tank player? This is my big question about Sybil.
I don't think so. I think he's a Zac player, and then I think he's a carry player. He's like an Elise in Zac.
That's what I think as well. And the thing is like, we haven't seen it in Oceania yet. But Lee Sin starting to rear its head internationally.
Yep.
And as things like Kha'Zix, Rengar, those things come back into the meta, you can always fight fire with fire. We saw the Nidalee last game. There are things like the Jax. By the way, did you see the scoreboard of the Academy game today that Levi played in?
No, Levi.
Yeah.
What was the score?
He absolutely popped off on Jax.
Okay.
Like 4-1-8.
As expected.
Trinity Force. He actually upgraded to a God Trinity Force.
God Trinity Force. Quintuple Force.
Yeah, it was just absolutely going bonkers. However, it is going to be Shen picked up as well as a Jax, but only. That's why I was talking about it.
Yep, so round 2 for G-Koi, game 1. They do pick up this Kalista-Shen combination once again. I do kind of have to question it. Game 1 didn't look too effective. In terms of what they try to do, like Shen wants to go top and Kalista wants to fight around bot, so kind of mixed signals here.
Yep.
And I feel like in terms of the other side of the map, you have the Ezreal Alistar. Ali much better at punishing in a 2v1.
You leave as the Shen?
He goes in. That's an angry cow, just flashing at your AD carry immediately.
Yeah. See whether he's an Aftershock Ali or whether he's a Spellbook Ali, because I think that Alistar is still one of the champions that likes the fact that you swap summoner spells as opposed to decrease the cooldown, because in lane obviously wants a combat, then out of lane wants a ghost for those big flanking plays.
Yep, I mean in this situation I would expect the Aftershock. They do have a lot of BB frontline in the Jax, in the Ornn already. Yep. So not necessarily for that respect, but just in terms of matching the pressure in the 2v2. Yep. Ezreal Ali is not really like a notable 2v2 lane so far, so he does need to kind of like bolster that up a little bit, I think. Kalista Shen, if he ever lands a taunt, will do so much damage, especially against an Ali who doesn't have that like 130 HP you'd get from the runes of the Resolve tree.
Yeah, for sure. And I think that this is one of those matchups that Ali can play it really cute, as in you can kind of play off to the side, and if Ezreal ever gets hit with something, then you just headbutt the Kalista away, pole the Shen up into the air. So really, this is one of those matchups where arguably for the first 5 levels, Alistar is the better target to go on to. And Kalista should be able to outdamage an Ezreal in a straight support versus AD carry trade. Yeah,
and I mean, Alistar has kind of always been that feast or famine in terms of gank potential. His gank setup is almost unmatched in the bot lane.
Yep.
But then also, if you actually just get onto an Ali, pre-6, he is so squishy. Yeah. Sure, he's going to pulverize you, try and headbutt you away.
Honestly, he's kind of squishy.
Level 1 ulti doesn't do too much. If you can lock him down for long enough, you have an Ignite ticking with a true damage, like he will actually just die. So, interesting to see how we track that one going into Game 3 of this series. Legacy versus AV, 1-1 right now.
Certainly is, and I mean, having a look down the items, not all that much of a surprise, apart from the fact that, is Sybil the only talisman Sejuani?
Maybe. Maybe he wants to go for one of those weird starts again in the Wolf Camp, maybe in the Raptors or something like that.
I think that's honestly what he does. I think what he does is he does a lot more half clearing than what the other OPL junglers do. He like takes things like the buff into a Gromp, into, you know, Wolves and Recalls, or potentially on bottom side of the map is not as good, to be honest, because the camps take a little bit longer. However, what's more Oceanic junglers go with things. Oh, that's a good Klepto proc.
It's also a good skin match there.
He's just grabbed himself a green ward.
Hey!
That is a good Klepto proc.
It is. It's also a good skin match. I don't back down.
I don't want to talk about skin matching, but he's just all of a sudden.
It's not bad. The deep purple, the deep blue. I like it.
They're both chromas as well. Double chroma bottom lane.
Yeah, that's good.
How can they actually lose?
Yeah, Legacy have lost. Come on. That's 2-1 to AV. Congratulations on your victory over Legacy. No. You're looking for something cheeky, level 1.
Wants a cheeky second Klepto proc.
Yeah,
that's all
he wants.
Does he
get an award?
Oh, no.
Gets a bit of gold.
Yeah.
So, don't get a whole lot out of that one, but of course just level 1. As we were mentioning, Sybil doesn't do a cheeky start. He actually got the lead from the bot lane on his red buff, and only got the lead from Pablo on the top side on his red. So
that's why he did it. He stops for Raptors. Lots of junglers don't do that anymore. They go either for little Raptors, or they go for something like a Wolf into second buff, into Scuttle Crab. A little bit of a healthier clear. Obviously, when you go Talisman, you stay much more healthy. However, your big buff camps are much slower. And Sybil just wants to hard farm right now. He stopped at Wolves as well.
Yep. Skipping only his golems here. We have to mention the mid lane as well. We've seen a rise already this series in the top side. He did take Airy, I believe. And we have a phase rush on Claire so far in this matchup. So no spell book for him.
Yeah, actually times that very nicely. Looking for that phase rush proc. Will not be able to get it, so instead just takes a truckload of damage back.
Yeah, just trays into the shield of Orianna there, so gonna hurt the fact that he doesn't have TP available. Only has that heal right now. As both junglers finishing up their clears for the most part right now. Only going to take a cheeky look into the bottom hand side of the jungle of Sybil. Going to find nothing.
Frey pulls creeps more than any mid laner. He's a really big fan of just grabbing that lane and parking it out the front of his turret. You see Jax now coming in. That's a slow, and Claire is stuck on top of that field. Goes forward, will flash the stun. One summoner spell burnt from either mid laner.
Yep, nice recognize from Claire that he has to go forwards there. Sybil was above him, so all he has to do is burn that flash for the jump. Stun of only, so he gets himself out of that sticky situation, but sitting on almost no mana right now, just wants to be able to push in base and get his tier. As Mimic and Pabu face off in this matchup once again, Nara into Ornn.
And I think it was actually Mimic that started this trend in the OPL, which is Biscuit Ornn.
I mean, he did it with the Corrupting Pot, though. He was looking much more aggressive in this matchup compared to the Dorans we see on Pabu.
Yeah, but just time and time again keeps you so healthy on the mana. You can see that Pabu was a little bit low, obviously. Would have some regeneration there through the runes, whether it's Mana Flow Ban or something like that.
Yep.
And you can see that he's just, with the Crystal now, going to be completely fine with his bickies.
Yep, 100%. And also something not a lot of people know, because you just look at a Biscuit and you're like, sure, it gives you health and mana, but it's actually missing. So you can burn all your mana on the wave and you get much more value in popping a Biscuit whilst your mana bar is low.
Yep, correct.
So it's a big deal.
What kind of biscuit do you like? Are you a Monte Carlo fan? Are you a Scotch finger?
The naughty Chalky Ripple.
Chalky Ripple?
He's a naughty boy.
All
that's
right.
that's a good bicky.
As we see him engage on the bottom lane, he's going to be a little bit just going out onto Blink. You would have to assume how that fight started.
I'm just going to note, if there's no Auntie Donna fan in the chat that got that reference, I am going to be so angry. So angry, but we'll have to see right now. Jake going again.
Actually going aggressive, and in comes Jax. That's going to be an immediate flash out of raid.
Yep. So, only sitting 2 camps behind right now, but has blown 2 flashes in the bot and mid lane respectively so far. So, has had impact on the map right now. Sybil, we mentioned, was going for that hard farm, so up a few camps.
He got both Rift Scuttles as well, which is absolutely massive deal. Sejuani, best Rift Scuttle taker in the game at level 1.
Yep, the E.
Yeah, the E auto does all of its health.
Like one. But onto the walls. Now, both junglers matching for the most part. A fairly slow early game for the most part right now. Gold is fairly even, just a bit of CS discrepancy across the board.
And you'd have to say slow games. Just
Favor Legacy.
That's how they want to play. They want to be the slow team. And you can see that Sybil's doing a good job of picking out the camps that only can be on right now. He's going to continue to win this CS war until a couple of items come out of only. See whether he goes, is he a Trinity Force Jax or a pure tank Jax? There's one more time. They go onto Jake. Bells are going, but he's taken a lot of damage.
And honestly, that's a really nice, well-played trade. Out of the bot lane from Legacy. They land the taunt, they do get a bit of damage, but he doesn't stick around, drop the dodge field so that Jake can counter-engage. Ray doesn't actually step up into the headbutt range, so it's just free damage onto Jake without the option to trade back from Blinky.
They're actually pinging out the fact that only is here. See whether they stop the recall.
Actually, only's going to be spotted in a second by Decoy. He is in taunt range right now, but he just backs away. Jake is kind of posturing over, looking up, but the Sentinel will be taken down by only. Just going to walk away from that one. Kings go out.
Potentially only is going to look for
Blink is out of the bush.
Here. However, at the same time, you have to... Oh, they're actually going to go for a dive mid lane. Show us mid lane right now, Spectator. See, they're pinging out. In he comes. No flash on Claire. Will the Counter-Strike and flash be there? No, instead, he goes back under the turret, and only is going to have to flash out of this one.
Burns the Q to get himself into that bush there, so he has to flash away from Claire. And I wonder why they didn't pull the trigger on that one. Only has flash.
That looked free.
Yep.
In they go again. That's going to be the CC into the wall. Claire, no ultimate available this time. Should fall down. They give it over to Frey. So first blood achieved.
And that's what we think should have happened under the turret, right? Ali didn't even need to be there for that one, really. The shockwave lands. If only had flash, which he did on the dive, potentially could have just picked up Claire for free. Obviously, the heal is still available.
Yep.
And Sybil was, like, posturing around. He wouldn't have made it immediately, but...
Yeah, he wasn't making it. He was doing his red buff.
Yep. But maybe just respecting the fact that the heal would come out. Potentially, you're going to have to tank the turret for slightly too long.
Yeah, there's no stopwatch available, so I was like looking through what it could have been. However, they do get the kill in the end anyway, so let's stop complaining about it.
Yep.
Mimic, one more time, just throws Parbu around in the lane. I wonder if this is like a fun lane to play.
Yeah.
Because there's some tank lanes that are like fun to play. Nautilus versus Maokai sucked.
Yeah.
Because you just used to hit the creeps and not even each other.
But
this tank matchup seems that you actually get to like throw each other around a little bit and knock them into the air.
Yeah, I like it. I back it. 100% Mimic looks like he's having fun in the top lane, yeah. Just throwing Parbu around. It's not too often that you can pick up a fridge.
I like calling him the fridge.
But obviously Mega Nar
Because he's just blue and like whenever it like it reminds me of when he bellows breath, it just reminds me of all the like condensation coming out of refrigerators.
You open like a freezer, like the top part and like yep, just goes everywhere. So I like it.
That's actually why I call him the fridge, because that's what it reminds me
I thought he was just a big beefy like thing.
He is a big beefy thing.
He is, but I thought that's why.
Nah, he also is just kind of cold looking.
Oh,
as we see Frey taking a very bad trade this time around.
Potentially was looking to get the shockwave down, but fortunately the ball was too far away. Legacy Claire just walks away.
Claire, however, gets knocked up. Flashes again. Flash forward from Parbu. Shen will be coming in. Can they get him down in time? Yes, they will. Big taunt lands, and now Parbu in trouble. He's taken his whole HP bar in that turret, and already 2 kills across for Legacy. Only falls down. Let's make that a third. And Jake is a lonely cow in the middle of a forest. Looking to recall.
Just going to look to get that recall off, but AV overcommits to the play. We were saying he was looking for the shockwave in the side of Frey, trying to get onto Claire, but could not find it. They pulled the trigger on the dive anyway.
It wasn't available.
And he just barely lives.
So the shockwave wasn't up.
Yeah. So he just couldn't keep him around.
Yeah.
Parbu was looking for the roam, and it was nicely timed. He had priority on the top side, so he just walks down the river, but Mimic did have the TP to get himself to that engage anyway, so...
And that was a Legacy teleport. When you go for an aggressive play mid lane, and they just teleport on a creep behind you.
Yeah, you can see right now the cooldown on the shockwave just came up. So Claire actually does flash into this, tries to juke it around, but the shield coming out from Shen and the CC onto the Ori means they can't actually get the extra damage. And that taunt plus the heal means that Claire survives, and once Mimic's in the back line, they all just fall down. Jake is going to walk away to the left-hand side of your screen and finally recall, but AV just overreaching there, and Legacy pick up a few kills again.
And we've seen this matchup go 50-50. However, now he's got 2 kills and a red buff to his name. You expect the Mini-Nar to absolutely open the door of the fridge and take all the lettuce and the cookies and everything else out of it.
Mini-Nar likes lettuce?
I don't know.
I don't know what he eats. But
what do Nars eats? Apparently Orns in this matchup.
Yeah. And he's got himself a red buff as well, so as soon as he gets this cleaver, you have to think he's going to be sitting absolutely pretty at the top side of the map right now, and this might be the game. We see the Nar counter into the Orn actually generate some semblance of split pressure. But taking a look across the board, CSs are fairly even, basically everywhere. Gold, fairly even, except for the few kills as well in the hand of Legacy.
Hungry Jacks has a meal, where for $5 you can get yourself a cheeseburger, small fries, small Coke, as well as an ice cream.
Yep.
And I feel like that is the build that Parbu is going for right now.
He's
just got a little bit of everything right now, Bryce.
He does. He's looking to get onto Mimic.
Yeah, he's actually Mimic overextended for that. Will get knocked up. A lot of damage coming out. Rise is heading up into this lane, however, and will be there first. Parbu has just gone so deep. And Oriana's turned around and said, mate, I can't help you.
Yep.
What the heck is Jackson doing in the top lane?
Yeah, absolutely. Both mid laners were tracking up there, but obviously Realm Warp available for Claire. Parbu looks like a bit of frustration right now.
A little bit?
Was laning effectively against the Nar, but now 2 kills, now 3. Means it's only going to get worse. Picking up this solo turret gold first brick means he's got to have that cleaver on recall.
I mean, that is a tilt play right there. He's just given up first brick as well as a turret. Mimic would be the gold lead right now.
Hey, there's another ulti on the creeps.
Yeah, he likes that. He's 2,000 gold ahead.
Yeah.
And his team's only 2,600 up. He is the gold lead.
It's a big deal coming out of Legacy so far. We've seen Claire pop off 2 games so far.
And can Mimic do it this game? Is this a game where we really get to see how much of a monster Mimic is in the top lane? We've seen people like Swiper have massive impacts on champions like Nah. He actually said it's his one trick and he should never get it again.
Why did he tell the other people?
I have no idea.
What's wrong with him?
Imagine going into a day and saying, guys, I actually can only play one champion. If you ban it, I'll be significantly worse.
Well.
However, I'm playing you next week. Please don't do that.
Yeah, please don't do that, please.
Maybe he just has confidence that he can beat.
I mean, I'm sure he's not dead serious. Or is he just joking about it now? He doesn't 100%. Just play one champion.
No, Swiper's a good player.
But game reset so far.
Just Egypt rears its ugly head in the middle of the Legacy versus Avant game.
12 minutes into the game so far. Around a 2,000 gold lead for Legacy, as we mentioned. Realm Warp coming up fairly soon for Claire. The TP about a minute off for Mimic, so you have to think potentially looking for a bot side play. The bot lane has been very stable so far. The CS is basically even across the board. Blinky has based, got himself that gauntlet, and the Bork is on the hands of Raid.
Yep. So who does that suit? Does that suit the Kalista Shen lane? Does that suit the Alistar lane?
In the isolated 2v2, it absolutely suits the Ali and the Ezreal. They wouldn't be winning those 2v2s. As you saw, Jake kind of left lane multiple times, tried to influence the mid lane, so didn't want a part of that 2v2, but it's interesting that they have not used Fate's Call aggressively at all. Kalista, kind of the reason she's pick and ban for so long is the fact that you can pick even a defensive support and just make a proactive play, and it's just so easy, and then it's so hard to counterplay because you can't like pick the support when you're playing like a pick composition in the mid game. And running around with the support, obviously no gold, no HP, they're just such an easy target. Kalista makes that completely useless, so interesting to see that Legacy don't actually play around the Kalista pick.
Yeah, for sure. And you see at the same time, Legacy use Mimic's tempo to walk into the mid lane, take themselves a turret, walk towards bottom lane, take themselves an absolutely free Ocean Drake, and just as it is crashing top lane, Mimic says, honey, I'm home. Give me those creeps as well.
Maybe that's what he puts in his fridge. Creeps, just minions. And he
Minions
takes them out every now and again.
Minions are people too.
Yeah.
See, I'm a minion apologist. I feel like minions
not
are
an order
very
apologist,
hard
a minion apologist.
done by.
Okay. All right.
We figured it out. Think about it. They just have to march down the lane to their ultimate demise. Even if there's not a champion there, they are merely cannon fodder.
And then there's literally a cannon minion.
Yeah.
That just comes and chews them up. He does the most damage. That's bollocks.
Have you seen the changes to Baron buff on PBE right now, the suggested changes, as well as the
I don't know exactly, but they're just making it drastically better so the games don't go for as long.
Yeah, so if you get yourself a Banner of Command and a cannon minion, it's like 7 shots or something.
Really?
And
For a
it
turret?
takes the turret down.
Jeez, that's damage.
It's pretty value.
Baron going from a
and
pip
it's splash
squid to a
damage
huge
now.
worm. Oh, Banner makes the, or Baron makes.
Baron makes the cannon do splash damage.
Oh, okay.
So it's a long-range splash damage unit.
Yeah, cool.
I like it.
Super weird. Okay. But as we go back to this game, Legacy setting up for a bot side play right now. The bot lane out of AV is fairly hard to dive, but when you bring 4 members to a 2-person.
Yeah, especially when you bring them unexpectedly, something like a Realm Walk into the back line, get a ward over the wall as you're doing it, bring Mimic down as well, would be very hard on this turret to defend.
Yeah, they have so many pinks in the river, bot side of the map for Legacy, so AV going to find it very hard to see this one coming. They'll see Claire leave the mid lane, and they're going to have to back off. Blinky actually burns his E right there.
Yeah, he's
pretty brave.
He's an E forward Ezreal. I like the fact that Claire isn't skipping steps on these dives as well. He pushes mid, makes sure that Frey has to go there or he will lose so much. However, Blinky is just playing one-man army and deterring the entire Legacy lineup.
He steps up to the plate, has the flash and the E available, as Mimic's just going to solo out the Rift Herald here, so they do get some form of advantage, but I feel like it's not a good thing for AV. Like, they are staving off the dive, so that there's not like this drastic play being made by Legacy, but slowly they are getting denied farm. Frey is always going to be second to the fight. He's going to be late to the party in the bot lane, and Blinky and Jake do have to back off the waves when they bring the mid and jungle duo from Legacy down there, so doing a good job at withstanding it so far, but slowly, ever so slowly, building a bit more of a lead in the hands of Legacy.
Yeah, certainly is. You can see Jake, he's just gone the old school support Alistar. Moby Boots rush into upgraded Sightstone as far as possible. He wants to have impact, but unfortunately, 1 kill is all he can really pin his hat on. You see Claire stepping up to Frey. They're going to look for a top lane play. Sybil is up there as well. However, Pabu does the right thing, backs away in this game right now. Decisive lead for Legacy, but a lot of it is on Mimic. And I want to ask the question then, going the Spectre's Cowl, is he going to be able to do enough with this gold lead? to actually be able to bully around the Ornn. He's got his team, you know, mid lane turret, got a Dragon as well as a Rift Herald. But normally what we see is, you know, Frozen Mallet second,
Frozen Mallet,
run
PD.
over the top lane. PD, like, let's go. Let's really look for this play. That has not been what Mimic has brought to the table so far.
Yeah, I mean, it could just be kind of a comment on the meta, right? We've seen Ornn come in, fairly new champion to 2018, obviously, and then we see these counter picks arise.
Is this a teleport play? They trim the wave. They're trying to make them stick around for a little bit longer. Teleport comes out. Mimic is already here. Headbutt pole misses. Nice flash. So Pabu now very deep. Actually dashes away. That is a miscommunication from the members of Avant Gaming. It was a 3v3 with a shockwave available, but they do not pull the trigger.
Raid burns the Mobies of Jake, so he has to burn the flash, and then Raid flashes out of the pulverize there. So is it AV can't commit. Pabu completes his TB, but as you mentioned, unfortunately,
now
has to dash away.
It's a 5v3 with a big, weird, whatever the heck that is. Realm Warp coming in, as you mentioned. They do manage to throw them back. However, Taunt in, misses. On ultimate could come up value here. It's going to be a big one onto 3. However, Orianna Shockwave does not get into their team. And you can see that Jax is pushing top lane. Shockwave hits one member in Sybil, and they can just keep going here. Herald is so incredibly healthy still. In goes Decoy forward. Mimic just misses that stun. However, AV stick around and they get punished.
They do get punished. Only the split push solo queue Jax right now on the other side of the map. The TP will match out of Mimic so he doesn't lose his top lane turret, and he gets to pick up that CS. They also, not to mention, get the charge onto the in-hit turret. Didn't do a whole lot of damage, but that's 2 kills, 2 turrets to Legacy.
And a 6,000 gold lead. Legacy right now, absolutely massive. Claire gets in on the action. Now a 6-stack Dark Seal again. Duo Darty coming out trumps. 2-1-2. Sybil accelerating this game for the first time, and they just look so clean.
Yeah, we see this once again. We didn't see it initially on the play, but Claire actually just Realm Orbs into the middle of everyone on AV. They've already burned a few of the cooldowns looking for that engage earlier, so he knows he's fine. He knows Legacy are there to back him up. They have that Shen ulti there to keep him alive, and the Shockwave just doesn't do enough, unfortunately, for Foray. They wouldn't be able to win the fight anyway, but it don't even lock down many members of Legacy. Pabu walks away and they get themselves 2 turrets and a couple of kills.
Yeah, exactly right. And, you know, it's one of those things that when the Shockwaves aren't hitting, it's just not an impactful spell. Without the threat of the Shockwave, Pabu can't re-approach, can't look for any form of turnaround. And with only on the wrong side of the map, just going to be very hard for a Cinder Hulk Jax to split push or do really anything in that situation. And Legacy, 20 minutes in, this is a much quicker game than we normally see out of them, but still just peeling for objectives.
Yep. Legacy, the Ocean Drake team, over the course of the series, have got a few of those in the back pocket. They're going to pick up another one here. That's going to be 2 to their name so far. 20 minutes, as you mentioned, so Baron coming up in about 2 seconds. You assume they're going to transition this lead. Top side, Mimic doesn't have TP, but is deploying in the bottom-hand side of the map. Neither does Pabu to match, though. So for a couple of minutes here, Mimic will be able to hold him down there. But a lot of pings going in the top side. Waiting for the members of Legacy to push up, sweep out the vision.
And I wonder how AV think they can get back into this game. Jax has largely been a non-factor, has been behind in farm, hasn't really done all that much. Now that he's going tank, will not be a threat on the back line, will be more of a body to keep someone warm at night. You know, Jake and Blinky have not looked as dangerous this game. And the Ornn is just so far behind where the Nah is at, now going towards that Frozen Mallet build. They lose the split push, they lose the team fight. There's just not many avenues apart from a huge mistake around Baron that Legacy can drop the ball on this one.
Contest on the blue buff coming out from Legacy, but unfortunately they don't get down there in time. It's not on camera, but you have to assume Frey picked that one up.
Yep, there he is.
Yep, he's got a little blue ring. Got a few tomes floating around him, so you've got to have access to the
only space here. Has to jump away. And with that, they're just confident enough to walk in, clear all of the vision. And Avant, slowly but surely, are ceding territory.
Yep, Mimic is walking over. He's behind them. He is only mini. Doesn't have access to the ulti here, but only looking for the stun. Can they get the combo down into Mimic? They can't. Pabu looking to match here. Does have his TP, and Mimic does not. So if Mimic can't get priority in the sideline, it's going to be a big loss for Legacy. But luckily for them now, he does.
Yeah, goes Mega. You can see 3 members posturing around. They actually started up. That ward in the back of the pit is out of range of the pink. So Avant should know this is happening. So many spears going in, but Decoy is falling low. Do they look for the contest here? Instead, they peel off, and that's a mini Nah. What are they doing? Ornn ultimate will come out. We'll knock up their 2 carries. And you can see that Mimic is going so low. Shutdown will be achieved. Decoy on the front line also falling low. Blinky, so many spears in him. However, the Ren does not pick up their kill, and Raid falls down. Again, Legacy around this Baron buff absolutely fall apart.
Time and time again, they keep throwing the game here. Under 25 minutes. Mimic, I think his Mega Gnar was timing out, so he went for the engage anyway, but it just left him in between multiple members of AV. The CC coming out of Jake and Pabu means they win the team fight. Legacy are contesting, but can't do enough. That's going to be Baron to AV once again.
And back within a 3,000 gold lead, 0 to 4 turrets. So all of the gold right now just sitting on turrets. As soon as they get into these lanes and start pushing out, AV will be in the driver's seat. And just talk me through this. What are they doing wrong?
Yeah, we see Mimic on the backside there. Looks for the ulti, actually times out mid-jump, so he gets pulverized immediately. Shockwave does this time hit multiple members, and AV's comp, they just have so much AoE CC. So the Ornn locks down Claire and Raid. The Jack is locking down the other side of the team fight, and Raid just alone here at the back end of the fight. As soon as Mimic goes down, as soon as the Sedge goes down, they just have no front line, so the Ryze and Kalista can't deal damage.
Yeah, and still no turrets picked up. However, turret number 1 will be under fire. You can see they're not really looking to contest this one. Mid lane turret falls, so they peg it back to what will be, what, a 2,000 gold lead? Bottom lane turret right now. You can see Jax in behind, looking to pressure this one as well. Actually, full-blown rotation. That will be on ultimate. Flash used, however, that will be the layered CC. You can see with the Randuins, they're just looking to chase him down. So much damage onto this full tank Nah. Even burns the Shen ultimate. And that's all they really wanted. They chase him off. They're going to pick up another turret for their trouble. And this game, back to dead even.
And he barely stays alive, Mimic there. They do burn that Shen ulti to keep him up, but Mimic, the ulti was on cooldown. He must have used that on the wave or on Pabu when he was contesting the turret, so blows in lane once again. That means as soon as Only rocks up, he has no tools to get him out of his face.
And you can see so many core cooldowns used. Jake still has ultimate, will tank that one up, burns it. Decoy in some trouble here, will get knocked up, will get fakes called out. Where's the headbutt pole? Not going to be spent. And you can see that Legacy right now, they're playing with fire, although, whoa, that's some damage coming out of Claire. Maybe AV, just take a chill pill and back away.
Yep, Blinky takes a lot of damage from the Ryze, so they do actually back away. Slow's coming up to Jake. The Mobies are broken here, so can he get out?
Right. See whether he goes for the turnaround. Shockwave, headbutt pulse still available, so we'll just walk it out, albeit very slowly.
Yep, so that's 3 turrets, as you mentioned, taken down with this Baron so far. And within touching distance, 600 gold, the gap between these two teams.
Yeah, and actually Pabu just teleports back to top lane to get this push started even more. He feels like he deserves a lot of solo gold because he got bottom lane turret solo gold. He's about to pick top lane turret gold, solo gold up as well. Potentially looking to match this split push that he knows is inevitably on its way.
I mean, they've got a quarter left of Baron, and one of the big things with Baron, when you reset mid-play, right? They've already reset. He does keep the wave alive.
Yep.
Raid was tracking up there. He went for the blue up to hand that one over.
He has ulti again. Decoy steps up, and you can see that they want another turret. AV are playing this game much more quickly. This is going to be a 5-turret Baron buff.
Absolutely huge out of them. That's 5 turrets total. It's about to time out though. So do they look for the inhib? They are. Claire's actually in the mid lane. Doesn't have TP, only the heal, but does have Realm Warp.
Do they pull the trigger here? You can see Mimic about to go Mega Gnar. Ultimates are available for everyone. Claire is on the move over. And I feel like this is one of the times that you say, this was the securing Baron buff. Let's back away.
Unfortunately for Legacy, they don't have Shen or Kalista ulti available, so you have to assume in an all-out 5v5 team fight, AV will be able to come out the victors in that one, but Baron about to time out. They have one wave to do this.
Yeah.
Claire's looking for the side.
It goes right now. In goes Decoy onto the Ornn. That is so much CC used, and you can see that the knockup is there. Decoy gets ripped apart. In comes the call of the Forge God, however, misses the headbutt back, maybe CC'd up, and the fight will continue. You can see Raid doing lots of damage, but gets knocked up. Flash out. Mimic, huge ultimate, gets knocked up on the back end. Cannot get his ultimate out. And now they continue to look for the fight. Blinky as, Claire flashes forward. Realm Warp is coming. Is the Shockwave going to be enough to knock them down? Only gets chased out, and that is a whitewash on the back end. Legacy pick up the team fight.
And once again, Mimic so close to getting the biggest Gnar ulti of his life off, but the chain CC coming out of AV's lineup. We talked about it already. CC's him down. but that just opens the window for Claire to wipe the floor with AV. 3 kills. And he's big once again. We take another look, and as we were mentioning, the Kalista and Shen ultis aren't available. Claire constantly just trying to get on the side, trying to do some damage. The engage comes out. It actually looks very good for AV at the start. They get the CC, they take down the Shen immediately without having to do a whole lot. Raid getting the stacks into Jakey, but there's just this chase. Mimic slowly building up. Oh, actually engage coming.
Yeah, they've caught out Blinky. Oh. And now, with a carry dead, with everyone up and available, they've also caught out Frey.
What?
That could just be game right there.
And the blue buff is what they're after. They're in their jungle around that Sentinel, but picking that one up might have just cost AV the game. Both carries dead. No wave clear for AV.
Yeah, you see that they use the Ornn ultimate, big headbutt pulverized, but they are tanking up the turret. In goes Mimic again, gets all 3 of them back. Can Claire put in the damage? You can see Jake is so tanky. That is a rank 2 ultimate. CC coming out of only means they will stave them off. 10 seconds on the AD carry. Right now, you just cannot die. Instead, they're still looking for the fight. Claire on the front line, massive shield coming out of that Seraph. And they might have just bitten off more than they can chew. Only flashing out. Null will pick up the kill. Pabu also falling down. And AV are just absolutely confusing the heck out of me. They will eventually chase him out of the base.
They lose the inhib and AV bait themselves once again. Unfortunately for Legacy, they get these 2 picks, but Raid was in base, so all he was doing is walking up mid, hitting that inner turret, and that baits AV in. They say there's no Kalista. Claire's low HP, that's all their damage. If we can just CC him, we can win the fight. And 3v4, they take it, but both the tanks die. He's staggered with both the carries, so nothing they can do. They lose the inhib. It's a big deal coming out of Legacy.
Certainly is. You can see Pabu right now actually swapped over to an exhaust. So potentially looking for Claire with that, you would have to assume.
Yep, Baron up in 45, and he knows the bot lane is already pushed out by his bottom side of the map for Blinky and Jake. So he's just going to walk over to Baron, doesn't need to TP in, so he has that exhaust, trying to keep Claire down.
Check in with the items, see where the relative strengths are. Pabu, massive tank, has his Warmogs, has an Abyssal Mask, as well as that Frozen Heart. At the same time, Frozen Mallet as well as Black Cleaver done for Mimic, so he's a legitimate threat. Frey's got his hat, Blinky's got himself a Last Whisper. Across the board, everyone else seems to be coming online, but right now to call it, AV just seem to have that little bit more, despite being behind in gold.
Mimic doesn't have access to the TP like Pabu, so pushes out that bot wave and then is walking back to the mid.
Yeah, do they just look for this one? Ulti comes out, will be CC'd up. However, Decoy should fall down here. Gets base called back. Mimic on the side, and Jake now has to burn the ultimate. They will continue to look for a good stun, but in goes Mimic. Does not get the Orianna, who blows up the Kalista, and now they continue the fight. Mimic will just have to run for his life. Claire is falling down on the front line. That is a shutdown for Frey, and AV will set their sights on Baron.
And such a sketchy fight. Shen goes in by himself. They have to use Kalista ulti to keep him alive, but the shockwave out of Frey picks up the carries on Legacy. Raid goes down. Claire goes down, and this is going to be another Baron for the game for AV.
Yeah, and this Baron one more time will put them back in the lead. It will give them the empowered recall to get back to base. And this Orianna ulti just sealed that team fight. It looked like it was a 50-50, but Frey came up clutch.
Yeah, and I mean, Game 2 didn't look too good, but Game 3 now into the rise. Significantly better for the mid laner out of AV. Great performance. He steals away the blue buff whilst his team does the Baron. He knows he's not needed there, so a little bit of an extra prize as the gold lead is basically even once again. We see once again this fight, the carries just doing damage to the tanks right now. Both supports kind of caught in no man's land, but this is the re-engage. The stun out of only locks up both of them, and then Raids finds himself just way too close to the Orianna. Claire can't deal any damage. The shockwave doesn't hit him, but then the follow-up from Pabu means he's locked down. Blinky, untouched, just doing so much damage.
And CC still king. One thing I want to point out is the fact that every single time Pabu throws out the ultimate, they will burn crucial cooldowns in making sure he's CC'd when he's going for the headbutt. So he's still getting a big slow, and then an ultimate from Sybil that you would like to see used on Blinky, that you would like to see used on Frey, given the fact that, you know, no cleansers available for both of these carries, is just being burnt into the big fat tank. And the carries are honestly winning them the team fights.
Yep, so they do have this Baron right now, tracking in the bottom-hand side of the map. Blinky and Jake just walking over from mid lane, looking to clear out a few wards in the jungle, but do they look to contest? It's actually interesting that they've set up on this side of the map. It's an air Drake, So not a lot of priority there, and the top side is completely open. There's no turret on the inhib, so they think they can actually dive this one. Yeah, that's a real big cow.
This makes me think they don't believe they can win the game right now. So what they're trying to do is they're just trying to equalize inhibitors, trying to equalize pressure. Big creep wave because they started it so far back, and they are hitting the turret. Only has to burn the leap strike and counter strike to get away.
Yep, it's a decent cooldown burn, so Claire gets the root onto Jax and forces him away, but that's a lot of damage onto the turret. You think if they can do that with 1.5 waves, they should be able to finish it off with the next one.
They certainly should. You see that they're killing the wave before theirs arrive, protecting it. Jake goes back, gives it the Baron buff, and they are trying to trim mid lane wave to get a second wave pushing.
But they do have the Ali flash available, and we have not seen it yet, but the Ali Ori combo is always a threat here. If they do get engaged onto the back line, they go in.
Yeah, exactly right. Sybil gets chunked out. You see right now, Only is keeping Mimic busy, so they will be able to match the inhibitors, and the recall is available. Avant just slowly but surely clawing their way into an advantageous position.
And once again, Mimic is mini when he needs to be mega in these fights. I don't know whether it's Legacy just playing poorly around the Narbar or AV just holding complete control of this game so far, but he just doesn't seem to be impactful on this Nari. In the moments that he does actually get into the backline of AV, they do burn the CC. They chain CC him, he can't get that swipe off, but means that a big threat on Legacy has been constantly, time and time again, shut down.
And if there was going to be a game where, you know, in the split push and something like that, we saw the fact that Lane Kingdom really is still there for the Nar, that he can bully around this on, it would be this game. However, Pabu is that confident that he will not be in the side lane versus Nar 1v1, that he's got himself an exhaust. Yep. Like, he just knows he's grouping for team fights. And because how good Ornn is at forcing, Nar has to therefore join. He can't just sit as Chippy's was against Order last week, split pushing the bottom inhibitor to victory. He knows that Ornn just hits the big go button, and you have to respond.
And honestly, you have to just blame Legacy for that, because they've given them the Baron 2 games so far in this series already, and now the second Baron available for Pabu and the rest of the AV
And this
lineup.
is what I'm talking about. In the bottom lane, you see instant recall. Nar has to be here for this fight, but he's already going to be in mini, and Pabu still CCing the front line.
Yep, Counter-Strike coming out of Only was looking, but that's a whole lot of minions. They're not Baroned up, but that will be a second inhibitor taken down. Mimic is looking.
That's a mini Nar in, flashes the Sedge whining. On the back line is Jake getting both of the carries, so Decoy should fall down here. Ornn comes up huge with an ultimate. Bates Call will save, but a double knockup. One of them onto Claire. Shockwave whiffs. However, Pabu is still in, flashing forward and overreach, and now they have to retreat.
Yeah, Mega is popped, so he does have access to the ulti now, but both supports look for the engage. Decoy goes in, gets a double taunt, but Jake answers, locking up both Raid and Claire on Legacy side, so no real casualties to that game. Pabu does die to the Nexus, but doesn't mean a whole lot. They've already got the inhib.
He looks like a frustrated man still, Pabu.
Yep.
That was a flash with just a bellows breath underneath a couple of turrets in the middle of 4 people, and Claire, very nice awareness. It is hard to track an Orianna ball, but that was a last-second flash out of a shockwave that probably would have spelt the end of the game for Legacy if he falls down.
So, the map does reset slightly here. Gold within 200, 100 now. So the series 1-1. Gold dead even, kills comparable. AV are in the driver's seat right now. 2 inhibs to their name. So we have to think the next big fights will be around the Baron and the Elder Drake spawning. 2 minutes on that Baron just came onto your screen so far.
So hard to contest if you are Legacy. Bottom inhib potentially will be spawning at the same time. Didn't exactly see when that one went down, but even top lane in a comp that does Elder Drake relatively quickly is kind of a big deal. See where the priority goes for Avant Gaming. Right now, they're just streaming down mid lane. One more time, Mimic is caught in a side lane, trying to clear out that minion wave.
Unfortunately for him, can't really have too many options there. He's going to be slowly building up that Narbar against the creeps. He's walking over now. About 30% right now. AV looking to take down this turret. Sybil in the front line again.
Yeah, but you can see that they're just very beefy.
Oh,
Pabu looking for the ulti. Gets both carries again. That's going to be a true shot barrage over it. If that Orianna ball a little bit earlier position would have been huge. However, now they just have to back away.
Yeah, Jake not having flash was huge there. Would have been able to follow up that double carry engage from Pabu, but the cow could not get close enough, so that means they won't be able to win the team fight there. 36 minutes into the game. 1 minute on Baron so far.
And I've decided the change I want to see on Ornn. His ulti needs to be a longer cooldown. That is
half up.
Already half up. Obviously, he has 40% cooldown. in this game. You see, onto the last inhibitor turret.
Ooh. Turret very low right now. Do they wait around for another wave? 30 seconds on the Baron so far, but they're just trying to hold Legacy here while the side lanes push in. The inhibs still are down, and once these super creeps stack up in the side lane, Legacy do have to expend resources to clear them. So if AV back away to the Baron in 20 seconds, Legacy are going to have to leave a member behind.
Yeah, however, they're looking to re-engage. They do not want to let this last inhibitor go down. Double super creeps in each wave would be a little bit too much to deal with, so you can see that they are willing to fight. That's Blinky getting hit. In they go, but he has QSS. Meganar on the backline gets 4 members. However, is that going to be enough? In comes the Yawn ulti, and that just gets more. Shockwave is onto Mimic, and now only the carries are up and available. Raid is trying his best to kite out, but into the base they go. Double kill for Blinky, and you can see they're just continuing to chase down. Let's make that a triple. Where is the Quadra? Sybil is heading back to base, but this should be the victory for Avant Gaming.
And what looked like almost a perfect engage out of Mimic just does not mean enough. The re-engage out of Pabu, the carry's doing so much damage.
And week 4, it was all Avant. This week, it's going to be Legacy putting up a little bit more of a fight, but the result will not change. Avant will sweep Legacy this regular season and pick up a 2-1 victory.
Pabu, looking happy, giving us a little bit of the dance so far. The fairy floss hair, the man on the Yawn. Big game out of him so far, and big win out of AV. Looking pretty happy about that one.
And does that make Avant now legitimate contenders? Because they've taken down Legacy twice. They were so close against the Chiefs, to be honest. Those early games looked very good. Obviously haven't run into order or the direwolves yet so far, I believe. But you would have to be thinking in the cross conferences, this is going to start getting spicy.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, these two teams sitting at 8 and 7 points, AV with the lead on the ladder, and kind of looking at it, tracking there's a definite bottom 3 in the league. And AV with the 2-0, you have to assume these teams are going to be meeting in the gauntlet in that like 4th, 5th place. We're only halfway into the split, but if things keep tracking that way, then AV already with the 2-0 in terms of series wins over Legacy, going into that game, that's playoff impacting kind of like mental games already.
Yeah, it certainly is. But at the same time, if you're Avant, I think that you're looking at the fact that if you had have been a little bit closer to the Chiefs, you know, they'll play them again. I believe they are the same group.
Yep.
If you win that, all of a sudden you're the 3rd place team. As I said, yet to play Order. Maybe they're actually even higher than what, you know, pundits like me and you are thinking.
Yep, they haven't played Direwolves, they haven't played Order. They will face Order next week and Direwolves in week 9, last week of the OPL. So that will be a hard one, but yeah, in terms of tracking the progress, AV looking real good.
Yeah, they certainly are. They should be very happy with that victory. I mean, just certain areas of the map that we thought were good are now starting to step up, starting to raise that play. And I think a lot of it is focused around, you know, their bottom lane, now taking that next step.
Yeah, I think so. We've seen kind of consistent improvement from Blinky and Jake so far over the course of the season. Not to mention tracking from like 2017 to 2018, marked improvement. Legacy did kind of like have a handle on that game. I mean, so like
a handle? That was like 7,000 gold ahead.
Yes, but that's like 2 games in this series. We've seen the same thing. And AV punished the same way around that Baron. They set up this kind of like sketch engage around the Baron. They don't find themselves picking that one up. The team fight looks rough, and then AV punish. And then from that point, looked pretty good.
Yeah, and in teams that we see are indecisive, AV seem to be one of the teams that is willing to make that play. We're down, we're still going to try and contest the Baron against the Callista comp that has such good secure, and they're able to make it work.
Yeah, and I mean, decisiveness is how they won their series versus Legacy last one when they got the 2-0, and then decisiveness is how they win this 2-1 again today. And I mean, Legacy, yeah, I guess like coming into this game and taking from it, you have to be really worried in terms of like how that performs or how that kind of sets you up for the rest of the season.
Yeah, it certainly is a concern. However, it's a big plus for the Avant Gaming lineup. One of their players is alongside right now, so let's throw it over to Laura.
Thank you very much, guys. We are joined here by Pabu, Avant's top laner. Congratulations on the win. Avant are currently now 4-1 on the ladder. How do you feel about your results so far?
It feels really good. Last split, I didn't do very well in the OPL, and it feels really good to have finally committed to playing full-time, and I'm actually doing well now, and I'm super satisfied with myself and my team.
You pulled out the Rise in game 1, but it didn't really work out. Can you talk to us about what went wrong?
It was mostly just like the flex capabilities of it that allow it to be really punishing in draft, and usually we try and abuse their top laner when we play Rise because he has a 2-second directed snare, so they can't actually like outplay that very much, but because they had Shen, it was a bit hard, so we couldn't really pull that off, and so the scaling didn't go as well as we thought it would, so...
How do you guys keep focused in a game like Game 3 where there's just so much going on? It was fighting for what seemed like 15 minutes straight. How do you sort of reset? And I don't know if you guys do it, but do you want to bring the tempo down, or do you want to maintain that tempo?
Well, usually we just sit there, and after we come back, we just call the reset and we end. And then it's usually me and Jake start talking, and we start figuring out things. For this game, it's like, all right, Jake's like, they have no flashes for this long. We're going to go on these people, and then we just sort out exactly how the team fights are going to go, and that is pretty chill. We're just sitting there talking like about all the important things, who has flash, what we're going to do, who's going to follow up on what. And then once we have that sorted out, we just talk about our setup, and it's really easy to get ourselves like back into it just because, I don't know, we just really want to win. I'm just... I don't want to lose anymore, and so it's just it's impossible for me to get distracted and get like hyped up just because I don't know. I just try to stop it as much as I can.
I mean, you guys sounded pretty hyped after the game.
Oh
so.
yeah, certainly.
We all heard that.
All right, two more questions. First of all, team building.
Yeah.
All right, we always see cool videos come from AV. What do you think is the main team building things you guys do behind the scenes?
Well, I'm roommates with Leon, and Only is roommates with Blinky. So there's a little bit of a camaraderie from there. We make each other dinner on weeknights. So there's one night, everyone just makes dinner for each other, and then we all go gym together. So we just try and be friends with each other outside of the game. And all of our disagreements inside, like work hours, what we call them, it's our work hours, our official scrim hours. They stay there. We don't like hold anything against each other from what's happening in practice outside of the game.
All right, I'm glad you brought up the gym because final question, and it's been weighing on me. When is AV at the gym coming back?
AV at the gym. We're trying to bring it. We need some quality content. We can't just like half-ass it. So we're trying to make it as good as we can when we bring it back. We're trying to make sure that it's quality content for the boys.
That's the least committal answer I've ever heard. That's not good enough.
Looking forward to the rest of this Super Week, you're also going up against the Chiefs. Last time you went up against them, the Chiefs took that one out. Do you have any thoughts heading into that series?
The Chiefs are a difficult opponent. They're definitely top 2 in the OPL by far. And so we need to just prepare for our later game scenarios. And, well, Legacy took a game off the Chiefs, and we just beat them. So hopefully, if everything goes well, we should be able to take it to them. It's not like, I'm not saying we're going to stomp them. It's going to be definitely a hard match, harder than this one. And this one was hard as hell. But I reckon if we play it like our peak performance, we can definitely take the series.
Well, I'm looking forward to seeing how it goes. Thank you so much for joining us on the couch, and congratulations once again on the win. Sorry. On this week's episode of the Hungry Jacks 1v1 Throwdown, we had 2 coaches go up against each other. So after we take a look at these highlights, we're going to see if Sharp or Fantix is the better player on the Rift.
Time. Yes, they will. Big taunt lands, and now Pabu in trouble. He's taken his whole HP bar in that turret, and already 2 kills across for Legacy. On Ultimate will come out. Will knock up their 2 carries. You can see that Mimic is going solo. Shutdown will be achieved. Decoy on the front line, also falling low. Blinky, so many spears in him. However, the Ren does not pick up their kill, and Raid falls down. Flash out. Mimic, huge ultimate, gets knocked up on the back end. Cannot get his ultimate out, and now they continue to look for the fight. Blinky Claire flashes forward. Realm Warp is coming, but in goes Mimic. Does not get the Orianna, who blows up the Kalista, and now they continue the fight. Mimic will just have to run for his life. Claire is falling down on the front line. That is a shutdown for Prey. In comes the Yawn ulti, and that just gets more. Shockwave is onto Mimic, and now only the carries are up and available. Raid is trying his best to kite out, but into the base they go. Double kill for Blinky, and you can see they're just continuing to chase down. Let's make that a triple. Where is the Quadra? And week 4, it was all Avant. This week, it's going to be Legacy putting up a little bit more of a fight, but the result will not change. Avant will sweep Legacy this regular season and pick up a 2-1 victory.
So Fantix, there's not really much you can say. Like, everyone already knows he's like a beast.
So the thing with Curtis is that even last year when he was retired, he was still a top 10 solo queue player, but I haven't really been seeing him around this year, so I'm guessing he's struggling a little bit.
I'm going to say I'm a solid 8 out of 10, even though I'm 0-8 in placements.
If I lose to him, I'm pretty much losing to a player that's retired a year before me, and that's kind of embarrassing.
I know that Richard is going to be nervous because he knows that my skill shots are on point. So he better watch out.
Look how ugly my skin is.
Yeah, it's pretty ugly.
Come on, man, throw a spell. I'll dodge it 100%. You're trying to auto attack me. What the hell, my mana? Nice. Happy feet. Oh! It's that happy feet.
Oh, I knew this would be one of those.
You got dematerializer. What the? I'll pot as well. I'll be. Copy you. You're rank 1, man.
Yeah.
What's going on?
What the hell? You're so cheesy. Why'd you start W second?
Mate, be ready for everything. Be ready for anything and everything. It's the Coach Coda special right there. To be honest, my favorite. Oh, dematerializer, man. What is this?
Oh, you're running out of mana.
Mate. Oh, you got biscuits. Oh, dude. Mate, you can't even touch me. You don't stand a chance. Oh, mate, come on, man.
I just thought I was gonna die.
Oh no, it's whoever gets ult first. Oh!
Are you serious? Wait, no, that he didn't one-shot you.
I mean, this is calculated. This is calculated. I knew what he was trying to do. This is calculated.
I'd say he still got it. Like while he was coaching us, he was still like really good at the game back in Split 1 last year. So I'm sure like if he puts a bit of time in the game, he'll still be really good.
After taking down the #1 player on the server, I think I'm going to go into ranked right now. As soon as I get back and start hitting it up, I'm trying to overtake Richard and take his #1 spot.